let this spud down and get this in here. And the exhaust system is just going to sit right on this board. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and lower this down a little bit rather. Okay, so that side's in. Put a washer on here. Okay, so now we're putting this side on. Okay, so obviously when we look at this tooling, we see that there's a lot of shaft left on this side. That's because this was made for the 01 generation of the 1000. So we're just going to put spacers on here to shim this out to this. So we'll just go ahead and put miscellaneous spacers on there till we get what we want. So we can see we're just about flush there, so we're going to add one washer, and then that's that. Alright, so we're going to make sure these are nice and tight. Then I'm just going to walk to the other side and tighten that. Nothing you need to see on that. Okay, good. It's nice and tight. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to measure from the frame how far out it is to the beginning of this. And so when we look straight down on that, we see that that's 3 millimeters. And when we look down on this one, we see that it's just about 3.5. So we're really not going to quibble too much about that. That would just tell us that our numbers on the bottom are going to be the same. So what we're going to do at this point is go ahead and put our pointer in. Okey-doke. So we got that in. Just tighten it up so it doesn't fall out. So what we're doing is we're setting up our rig to perform the pull. And the big thing is that even though this is, get this out of the way so you can see, even though this is incredibly adjustable as far as here to here adjustment, and then if you can see this hole here, here, and here, that adjusts this way. This is on a threaded shaft, so this is movable. Everything's very movable. So we're going to go ahead and start moving the bike roughly into position. Okay, as you can see, for orientating the bike, we have the same number up at the top of our, the sides of our frames. So we're going to look for the same number, but you see it's labeled 0, and then it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 millimeters out. So when we look at this side says that it's 224 from where I'm looking at it. And the other side I can just quickly look at and tell you that it says that it's 265, which tells us that we basically got to go about 20 millimeters this way with this. So it tells us that about 245 is going to be our 0. So we're at 245 on that side. And we're right at 245 on this side as well. So now it's okay to go ahead and tighten this down. And what we've done is we've basically centered the bike laterally this way. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this up now. Tighten this one up. Now we're going to push the bike forward till we see what we need, and then we're going to tighten up the other axis of this machine. Our requirement as far as how far this is in or out is to be able to get to it with this, so we can come forward just a little bit, but this is adjustable either way for us. And then know that this is going to fit in this hole as well. And that's pretty much like shooting fish in a barrel, because we have every one of these adjustments, plus this thing pulls in and out is what it does. So it's very easy and very adjustable. And then now we know it's safe to go ahead and tighten the back of it. So that's at 105. And as you can see, this thing moves back and forth, depending on which one of these we tighten. That's the way we can center that up. So now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So come on with me. So we're just about on 105 here. We're going to go ahead and tighten on our rack. What this has got is, you can see these two bolts are at an angle, and so the more we tighten up one of them, the more it pushes or pulls the thing the way we need it to go. So from the way I'm looking at this, we're just a little tiny bit ahead. Okie doke. There we go. Okay. So now we're ready to do our pull. Now what we're going to do is, we know from the max measurement that, or in this case, that we want to pull this thing out at about 1/2 degree. So what we're going to do is, we're going to come to here, and we're going to say that that's about 29 inches. And what we're going to do is, we're going to take our sign, and we're going to say, this is very easy to do, sine 0.5, which would be 1/2 degree. That gives us our factor. Then we would multiply that by 29 inches, which is how long our long side of the triangle is. And that comes out to 253 thousandths. So what we're going to do then, butt this up against this. Square off of here. Then we're going to put our caliper on 253. 255 is close enough for the kind of guys I hang out with. Go ahead and make another mark. And that's basically where we're going to. That's 1/2 degree. And that's what we're going to do. So here's where we are. The other thing I wanted to tell you is that we've taken a couple of pulls on this just to make sure that everything's settled nice and easy with the frame, and that nothing's going to move forward. If I leave this here as a reference point, you can see that the needle's coming out and that we're actually pulling the frame right now. Hey, how about that? So we pulled out 1/2 degree. This new mark represents 420 thousandths of an inch, right? So that's 420. This mark was 255. This was equal to 0.5 or 1/2 degree at 29 inches, right? Both of these are at 29 inches. But what we got now is, Sean was pointing out to me while we were looking at this, is that the template for the GSXR 1000, his bike was actually 83 hundredths, right, of a degree short from what the new GSXR frame is. So what basically we're saying now is that 420 thousandths would represent what we need to pull this for 83 hundredths of a degree. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're just going to take another look at this real quick. So we are at 420. Okay, so we're just past our mark by about 15-20 thousandths. And we're going to go ahead and measure the bike now while it's still in the jig and make sure that we got what we wanted. So we're going to go ahead and do it. When we look at this pivot hole here,